Hey boys and girls, it's Mrs. Daly. We're going to do your math lesson for today. Yesterday we worked on place value and we talked about our tens and our ones. So we're going to do a review problem from yesterday first, and then we'll add in our new unit of hundreds or a flat. Okay? So let me go ahead and share the screen, and remember I'm trying out this new program today to see if it's a little bit better so that you can see the screen, especially for math. I think it's important that you guys see the screen. So our first problem, our review problem, says Chris hears 82 drums. He wants to know how many tens and how many ones are in the number 82. So yesterday we talked about using our steps of putting it into a place value chart. So let me fix my place value chart because I had already added hundreds in. So I have right here written tens and ones, so I can look at my number 82 and figure out which one goes in the tens place and which one goes in the ones place. Now remember, we can only put one digit in each place value. So if my number is 82, I'm going to start at the end and put my first number in. So my first number in the number 82 is an 8. So I have an 8 in the tens place, and I'm going to put the 2 in the ones place. Now remember, another strategy you could use is if I don't know how many tens are in 82, I could count by tens until I got to the number 80. So let's try that together. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Oh, I got to 80. Let me stop and see how many tens do I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 8 tens, and that's the number that I got here. So now I need to figure out with my place value blocks, how many, sorry, I'm trying to use the space I have. All right. I need to figure out how many place value blocks I need to put into my tens place. So on your computer, you can see the place value chart. The place value chart here with tens and ones. And remember, we can count by tens to figure out how many rods we need. So how many tens we need. So I'm going to do it with my rods here, and then we can move them on the computer together as well. So let's count by tens with the rods. Are you ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. So I counted by tens, and it's just like when we counted on our finger, it's the same thing, but now I have rods. So we need how many rods? We need to have 80. So let's count our 8 rods and move them down into our place value chart. And remember, when we're counting, we need to say the number slow as we touch the object to make sure that we don't miss any. So let's do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if you look down here, it is counting for us. So we should have 80 because that's the number that we put into our place value chart. 80 tens. Okay, so I have 80 tens. Now I need to figure out how many units I have. Remember, units are the little small cube. Let me make it so you can see it. There's my unit, and each unit is worth how many? I know my rod is worth 10. How many is my unit? 1. Good, because if I took units and measured them up next to a rod, it would take 10 of them to make 1 rod. So in this problem, my number is 82, so I can count by ones until I get to 2. So 1, 2. So how many units do I need? 2. Very good. So we're going to move them down together using our little orange block here, and we're going to count together. Ready? 1, 2. and we got our green ding that we are correct. So yesterday we were practicing typing, but today, since I'm using this new program, I thought it would be better if we pointed to which number we're looking for. So we counted together that we had 80 tens. So we had the number 8 in the tens place. So on your computer, can you find the number 8? And if you're just watching the video, then you can use your finger and point to it. Can you find the number 8? Well, there it is. And if I wasn't sure, then I could touch each number and count until I found it. So let's do that together just to practice. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 8. All right. And then how many ones did we have? How many ones did we move down? Units. I have 1, 2. So I can move my 2 over. All right. You guys did a great job practicing our review from yesterday. So let me make my video big again so you can see. I updated our anchor chart, and I know it's backwards. I'm sorry. I have to figure out how I'm going to do that with video. But for today, we're going to make it work. So we are going to introduce our hundreds today. Hundreds are called a flat because if you took 10 rods and put them all together, then you would have 10 by 10, which is equal to 100, one flat, okay? So we have added our visual up here. We have our flat is worth 100. We have our rod is worth 10 in the tens place, and we have our unit is worth 1. So here is our example, and I am going to, on my chart on my little whiteboard, add the hundreds place so that while we're working together, we can use the chart that I made to do our problem. So in this picture, that's our example. You can count and see how many hundreds are there. Well, let's touch and count together. 1, 2. So you can see I moved my number 2 down. In this one, let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can see I wrote the number 5 in the tens place. And our ones, let's touch and count together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have the number 4 here at the bottom. So when we put all of that together, the whole number together, it says I have 200. Sorry guys, 200. And then I read these together, 54. Okay, so when you read a number from this chart, I want you to touch the hundreds place and say the number. So we say 2. Then you're going to touch the word 100 to remind you to say 100. So 200. And these two numbers always go together. So 54. Okay, so let's go back to our screen. And we are going to do a couple practice problems from Unique together. And then when you go on your own today on the Unique program, you can practice the same problems that we're doing now on your own at home. Or you can do them while we're doing them on the video. Either way is fine with Ms. Daly. Okay, so here is our example problem. Now remember, we have hundreds now, so we have our units, we have our rods, and we have our flats. So we need to make sure that we're doing all 3 numbers in our problem. So I'm going to go ahead and let the computer read this problem so I can take a sip of water, and I want you guys to have your listening ears on so you can hear what number we're trying to use. All right, so our number is 236. And just like Ms. Daly was showing you on the anchor chart, when we read, that's how we write our number into our chart. So 200, I know the number 2 is going to go under the word 100 because when I read it, I say 200. And then the next part is 36. So 30 sounds like a tens place because when we count by tens, we have a 0 at the end. So 30 goes in the tens place. And the end of my number says 6. So 236. 236, okay? 236. Remember, these two you always read together. All right, so now we have to figure out how many I should move down. So if I look at my chart I made, I can very easily see how many flats I need. I'm in the hundreds, and my number I put there is a 2. Sorry, it's backwards. All right, so I'm going to move my flats down because I know I need 2. So we're going to touch and move, and while we move, we're going to count. Now remember, you want to count slow and only count when you're moving so that you don't mix up your numbers. So we have 1 and we have 2. Now, what you should do before you move on is look down here at the bottom in our little box that's counting for us. It should be starting your number for you. So this one has a 2 at the beginning, just like ours. So I know my hundreds are good, okay? So let's go to our tens place. In our number, we put, there were 30 tens. So I know that I need how many rods? How many rods do I need? I need 3 of them. So let's touch and count together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay? So I have 3, and remember, you can check your box here at the bottom where Miss Daly's little arrow is and see that the first number is a 2, and that matches mine, and then I have a 3. Okay? So our last number in the problem is our ones place. Those are our units that we count by ones. And I have a number 6. So I need to count out 6 units for this number. So let's count together. Remember, we're touching and counting at the same time so we don't mess up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you heard that green ding noise. That means we have our number right. But just in case, we can go back and look at our chart that we wrote down and see I have a 2 here and a 2 here. Excuse me. I have a 3, and then I have a 3, and I have a 6, and my last number is a 6, okay? So now that we've done that, we can go to the bottom and match our numbers. So how many hundreds, how many flats did we put in? Well, I can go back and count. I have 1, 2. So with your finger, I want you to look at the numbers that Miss Daly put up and see if you can find the number 2. Awesome sauce. You guys found it. Here is our 2. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit so we can count again. Sorry, it zooms out for some reason. All right, let's count how many rods we put in, how many tens. So I have 1, 2, and 3. Beautiful counting. So if you could, with your finger, look at your numbers and find the number 3. Which one is a 3? Awesome sauce, you found it. There is our 3. And let me zoom in one more time. Here is our ones, and I need you to tell me how many units we put in. How many units did we use? So let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. With your finger, can you find the number 6? Where's the number 6? Beautiful job. You guys are doing so awesome. I want you to take a moment and kiss your brain. Oh, what would we do without that brain? All right. We are going to do another one for practice. Let's see. Chris hears 344 violins at a concert. He wants to know how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many ones are in the number 344. All right, what do I always do first? What's my very first step so that I know I want to get the right place value blocks? My first step is, I think I heard some of you, it's to use my place value chart, right? So in my number, I have 300. So if I look at my place value, I know that my hundreds start with a H, hundreds. So I'm going to write that number in the hundred spot with the word that starts with a H. 300. So I need to put what number here? Yeah, I need to put a 3. So I have 300. The next part is 44, and I know that I read the tens and the ones together. So I need to make the number 44, and I need to put one digit, one number in each place value box. So 40 sounds like a tens place, so 40 would go in the middle, because when I count by tens, I hear the words T at the end. 20, 30, 40, so that means we're in the tens place. So there's my 4, and then the end of my number, 344, I hear the number 4 for the ones place. So I'm going to put that number in the end. Okay, so here is my number in my place value chart. Remember, when we're reading this number, we are going to touch the first number and then touch the word 100 to remind us when we read the number to say the word 100. So let's do it together. 344. Okay. All right. So let's look at our place value blocks and see what we need to do to put them into our chart. So we'll start with our hundreds. And what are our hundreds place value blocks called? Miss Daly forgot. Yeah, those are our flats. These are flats. It's just a big square that has 100 units in it, so we don't have to count out 100 every time. We can just count by 100 when we see this. So these are our flats, and in our number we said we had 300, so we can count by 100s and move these flats down. Remember, we're going to touch and count at the same time, so let's do it together. Ready? 100, 200, and 300. Okay, those are a little hard to see when they get piled up like that, but we're going to make it work. So if you look down here in your little counter where it's counting, it should have 300 because we had 300s in our place value chart. All right, so next we are going to the tens place, okay? In the tens place, you will see we wrote a 4 for 40, and we count by tens when we do the tens place because those are our rods. So let's count by tens together until we get to 40. Ready? 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay, I got to 40, so this should have 340 because I have 300s and I have 40 tens, and that's what's in my box at the bottom. So far I have a 3 and a 4. Let's look at our ones place. In our ones place, we use the units. Those are worth 1. And in my place value chart, I wrote a 4. So I need to count until I get to the number 4. Now remember, when we're counting, I know you're sick of hearing Miss Daly say it, but we need to make sure we're counting slow so we don't mess up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's our ding. So we have our number correct, 344. So here is our bottom part. We need to figure out how many place value blocks we use. So how many hundreds did we use? How many flats? Well, let's count. I have 1, 2, and 3. So with your finger, can you find the number 3? Where's the number 3? Beautiful job. And there it is. All right, let me zoom in one more time. And let's count how many rods we needed, how many tens. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so I had 4 rods or 4 tens. So can you find the number 4 with your finger? Oh my goodness, you guys are so smart. There's my 4. And our last one, how many units did we have? Let's go ahead and count together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And go ahead and find the number 4 with your finger. Awesome sauce. All right, boys and girls, we are going to do one more for practice, and then we will say goodbye for today, okay? Here is our last problem. Emily hears 669 trumpets, 669. She wants to know how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many ones are in the number 669. All right, boys and girls, what is my first step? Anytime I do place value, what do I want to use first to help me make sure I put my number in order? I think I heard some of you say it. I want to use my place value chart. Okay, so the number 669, I hear the word 100. And I remember that Miss Daly said when I read a number, I say the number and then I say the word 100. So 600 tells me I need to put what number here? Yes, I need to put a 6 for 600, okay? 669. Well, I know that I read these two numbers together, and in my tens place, when I hear a word, it's usually with the sound T at the end, like 20, 30, 40. So 660, the number 60, I know that's a tens place number, but I can't remember how many that is. So I'm going to use my hands to help me count by tens and see if I can figure out what digit is represented for 60. Are you ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Oh, I hear 60, so I'm going to stop. And I'm going to see how many fingers do I have? How many fingers do I have holding up? 6. Very good. So 60 is the number 6 in the tens place, okay? 669. I hear the word 9, and I know the last number that I hear always goes in the ones place, so I'm going to put my 9. 669. Beautiful job. All right. We are going to see how many place value blocks I need to move down. So here is my flat. How many flats do I need to move for my hundreds? Well, I can check my place value chart and see I have a 6. So I'm going to move 6 flats down. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so I can check and see that I have a 6 in the hundreds place, and it should be 600. So now I need to check and see how many rods I need, how many tens. So if I look at my place value chart, I can see I have a 6 in the tens place. So I need to count by tens to 60 and move them down to the tens place. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. So if I double check my chart, I have a 6 and then a 6, which is what I have here in my little count box. So now I need to do the ones place. In the ones place, I have the number 9. So we're going to count out 9 units together, and we're going to touch and count so we don't miss any numbers. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And you could hear it ding. So let's double check one more time. Here is my chart. I have a 6, I have a 6, and I have a 9. Beautiful job. All right, our last job for the activity is to count how many we have of each. So how many flats did we put up there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So with your finger, can you find the number 6? Beautiful job. I saw lots of people pointing to the number 6. All right, and we did the same thing in our tens place. We put how many rods in the tens place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you're going to look for the same number. Where's the number 6? And don't forget your strategy. If you cannot remember what the 6 looks like, then you can go through and count until you get to 6. So let's do that together to practice. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There it is. All right, and my last one, I need to count how many units I have, how many ones. So let's count those together. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have 9 units. So with your finger, can you please find the number 9? Beautiful job. All right, boys and girls, you did a great job today. I want to show you one more thing that you might not remember that you have. When you go onto your Unique program, you'll see this little blue button up here that says Number Journal. If you click that, it will open to a new tab, and it will let you practice all kinds of activities about different numbers. So you can practice counting, you can practice matching, you can practice adding, all those types of skills in your number journal, okay? Keep working hard at home, keep being good for mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, whoever's watching you. If you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Miss you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for our lessons tomorrow. Bye.